Okay, so do you and your brother share a lot in common, like in your thoughts and how you feel towards your family?
Um, I feel like he's more hostile about the family relationship that I am. I've pretty much come to terms with it that like it's gonna be the way it is, and that's all I can't really do much about it. Like I can say my opinion, but overall, like whoever's involved is gonna be their issue.
Mm-hmm.
But he is very much against the way that my family has like turned out and the dynamics and everything. And he, I don't know, it just affects him differently than it does me, I guess.
Do you know why that may be?
I don't know. He's always been a little bit more like sensitive about things than I have been, and so I guess that's sort of why it is. Like if there's a, I've always been the one to like take control of the situation from the two of us. Like even when we were little, like my
Mm-hmm.
mom had to separate us in kindergarten because in preschool we would come home, we would have the same class together, and we would come home, and she would like directly ask my brother like, "How was your day? What did you do?" And he would just look at me, and I would give the answer for him. So like
So he's
always
dependent on you,
he's
it sounds
very
like.
dependent on me, and like my opinions are the most important opinions than anyone in our family as far as he's concerned. Like
Mm-hmm.
in relation to him, like if there's something that he is like really important to him and he wants everybody else to know, he'll come to me first to get to like gauge how I react to it before he lets everybody else know.
Well, it's good that he still feels like he has a great connection with you, and I feel like that could be a great start to maybe coming to terms with the family problems, working
Yeah.
his way in one person at a time. It just kind of sounds like he has a hard time relating to your parents, which may be one of the main reasons, because it sounds like he can relate to you about a lot of things, so he feels comfortable with you.
Right. I mean, my parents' relationship is very weird, and they like fight all the time. And while that transmits somewhat to my relationship with Kyle, like I still have the ability to step back from the situation, like see when I'm being the one that's ridiculous or whether I have a valid point in my argument. And on the other hand, like any of Alex's relationships have always been like very hot or very cold. Like there's no in between for him.
Sounds like he's unable to develop a balance like you have.
Yeah, he really. That was one of the biggest things for me, I think, in him progressing forward with his schooling and everything was to take a step back and to not date someone for a while because ever since high school he'd always been like as soon as he ended one relationship he would jump into a relationship with another person whether he really wanted to be in a relationship with them or not. Like
It
one of
sounds
the
like he always needs somebody.
yeah, he is very dependent on people, and when I wasn't there, since I was off at school in another state, he would attach himself to other girls. And once I did come back, like I guess he figured that since I was closer, he didn't really need that anymore. I don't know what actually made him decide that he could be on his own and be perfectly fine, but
So you think you being closer has helped him?
I think it has. I think whether he comes to me like right away or just the fact that he knows that I'm there and I can come if he does need me, I think that's a lot more helpful than me being in a different state. Like,
It's like a comfort thing, really.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want to feel like he doesn't have an
Right.
outlet or someone to fall back on if something goes wrong.
Right.
'Cause it sounds like he has a hard time maybe dealing with things when it comes to him on his own. Like
Yeah.
He needs somebody.
He's just very dependent. So.
And it sounds like things are getting a little better now, even though you're close. But
He's definitely been on his own more in the last year or so, and that's good for him, I think. I mean, he did move out of the house and into his own apartment, but because of financial issues and everything, he's going to be moving back in with our parents as soon as this lease is over, so hopefully that won't cause him to, like, go backwards or anything.
Maybe have you considered telling him how much you think he has improved independently, and maybe you could say or talk to him how your fears of him stepping backwards.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really talked to him recently. I was going to I was supposed to meet up with him last week, but then his car broke down. So,
well, maybe you guys could get together soon.
yeah.
And talk about things, because it sounds like an important issue, and he values your opinion, obviously, more than anybody. So
Yeah.
I think he would really value what you would say.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't sound like he has really a choice of moving back in with his parents because of
Yeah, he
financial
doesn't have
difficulties.
anywhere else to go, so.
And it's good he has something to fall back on, but it does sound like it could also stir up a lot of past issues. But
Yeah.
then again, it could also help, so it could go either way.
It could. I'm really worried at this point that it's not going to help, though, just because being in the house is just such a stressful environment, like dealing with our parents and everything. And at this point, like, it was even hard for me to be living there for longer than, like, just one summer. Like, for an entire semester, like, I wanted to leave the house every single chance that I could get.
So it's basically your parents fighting all the time that makes the house such a hostile environment.
Yeah.
Do you know why they fight so much? Is it over serious things or just little things?
It's just over little things, like nitpicky things. And, like, my mom always has to have the last word in, so, and my dad's very stubborn, so that combination of the two of those doesn't really help either of the situation.
Sounds like they both have very dominant personalities, which can be hard.
And I don't know, I guess the fighting just got worse once my dad was back from recovering from his stroke, just because the whole, like, dynamic of him being the actual dominant one in the family and my mom just being like a stay-at-home mom had to completely change since he wasn't able to support us.
So it's stressful on any family.
Right.
So your mom, it sounds like she had a hard time switching roles from being able to stay home with the kids and just switching into a job.
She definitely didn't like having to do that. I mean, she did it, and she did it to the best of her ability, but I know, like, that she still wanted to be the one that, like, stayed home and helped the kids with their homework and went on the field trips with them and all that kind of stuff, and that just wasn't an option for her. And then when she would try and do that in the high school years, we just didn't, we were at that stage where we wanted to distance ourselves from our parents and everything, so that wasn't an ideal time for her to try and come back into the school.
Sounds like she might have, like, hostile feelings towards your dad, since she kind of had to miss out on a vital part of you and your brother's life, which may be why the little nitpicky things could just be covering, true feelings of hurt or regret, or but has it gotten any better since you moved out, or?
It's gotten better for me since I've moved out, I think. I mean, I don't know. I don't really hear about them fighting as often as I did last year, which is good, I guess.
Good.
But, I don't know. I don't know if maybe just the stress of having their children in the house with them makes them fight more when they are, like, expecting them to be, like, out of the house and everything at this point, or whether it's just, like, I don't know.
I guess that's something that time will tell when
Yeah.
your brother comes home, and maybe your parents have been trying to work on their issues. It's just something you'll have to see for yourself.
Right.
And it does sound like you're adapting as best as you can, and it does sound like you are preparing yourself for your stress, and I just think you're in a good mindset, even though everything's very difficult. It sounds like you're dealing with things without hurting yourself or making bad decisions, which is a great way, even though it's hard to deal with everything all at once. It just sounds like,
I think it's stressful, but
taking it one day at a time.
Exactly.
Which is great. So unfortunately, we are out of time, and I hope this therapy session was beneficial, and I'll see you next week.
Alright, sounds perfect.
Great.